Welcome to the Nagual Zone. I am Anaam. Today's topic is fear. Fear. There's no human being or living being that has not experienced this, what lies behind this word, at least once in their incarnation. And it behooves us, especially as Toltec warriors, Toltec warriors are extremely concerned about this word and what it entails. Today I'll break it down for you a little bit, and then this is part of the live Zoom meeting that is happening. I encourage you to come and join in every Sunday, 8 p.m. Go to thenagualzone.com and book there. After this video, we'll have a Q&A and other discussions, and this is where it's all happening in the actual Zoom meeting. This video is a part of that. Fear is extremely important for the apprentice on their journey to being a warrior and beyond. It's considered the first gate or the first enemy or the first adversary, first challenge, real challenge that you will encounter. Fear and its manifestations. It is possible, I assure you of this, it is possible to be rid of it forever from your life. It's possible. I can tell you that it is possible. Many things must come together for that person to be at that level. However, anyone can start on that journey to rid themselves of fear, to break its back permanently in their life. Because fear is really, it's an attitude. Fear is something that it will convince you that it gives you no choice. You have to be afraid. But that's not true. You have a choice. You can choose to be clear-headed. Your body will experience survival, threat to survival, symptoms, sweaty palms, sweat coming out, heart is beating, pulse is racing, all of those things. You can choose to be very clear-headed, and it's a skill that we acquire. Okay? So fear, first of all, you have to learn to separate the bodily sensation from the mental shenanigans that fear produces. If you can learn to do that, you'll be at a place where you can manage your fear very well. And then it's up to you if you want to get rid of it or just keep it at that level. It doesn't really matter, because it will stop affecting your life. Now, if you were to really look at the decisions you are making these days, and these are very special days, the decisions you are making these days about how to breathe, what to choose to be injected into your body, threat to the livelihood, all those things are all born out of fear. Fear is the prevalent vibration of this day and age. Warriors, genuine warrior, is completely immune to it. Completely immune to it. Personally, I can tell you that I have no fear of I have no fear of scams. No matter how the fear seems to convince people around that they have no choice but to be afraid. You see how it works? No, there is a choice. Now here's how to make that choice. I'll give it to you right now. This is why in the Toltec path, sobriety and pragmatism and a real clear-headedness are so prized, so valued. Sobriety, a clear-headed, spacious mental area inside you that is alert, alive, and really cares about your well-being. That you have to cultivate within you. It's an attribute you must get. You have no hope of doing anything with fear if you do not learn to be clear-headed whilst experiencing fear. Which means we have to learn to separate being drunk with fear, eyes go wide and can't decide. Someone comes and says, hey, what is 2 + 2? And you can't think, oh, I don't know, 2 + 2, panicking, anxiety attack. You're fucked. You must learn to be clear-headed. Fear does a very strange thing to the mind. It speeds up time. Everything's very fast and coming at you as if you've taken 3 shots of cocaine or something. Keep that space in your head clear and calm, and see that your body is just going through the fear symptoms. It does not mean that fear does not have to get into your mind. Once fear gets into your mind, it's a very tricky business. This is why warriors emphasize so much on inner silence. Inner silence is the firewall that keeps the fear out, at least out of your mind, and keeps you clear-headed. This is the first point about fear. You will be afraid. Sometimes you will be afraid until you reach a real point in your evolution where you will realize that there's just no need for it at all, ever. Right? Till that time, you will be afraid. If right now a SWAT team busted into the house and started yelling, these guys are professionals, they don't mess about, and put me down and start, of course I'll be afraid. My mind will be crystal sharp and clear. I'll go straight into stalking mode. I'll be considering options straight away. I'm not even joking. It sounds like a bit like Hollywood, or no, it's not. It is possible to be clear-headed whilst things are completely getting out of hand around you. It's possible. However, watch my previous video called it's about repetitions. If you do not repeat being clear-headed enough times in your life, then you will not have any proficiency in being clear-headed when fear comes. Simple enough, right? All right. Next thing, fear. You can't do this to fear. You can't reason with it. I must not be afraid. You must not be afraid. Why are you wearing such stupid things on your face? Why am I wearing a stupid thing on my face? You can't, there's no, if you are someone who has not bought into the scam, then you'll be genuinely puzzled. How can the entire world be so stupid, right? But it's not rational. Fear is not rational. People are not thinking. When fear strikes you, you're not really thinking straight. And you cannot outthink yourself out of that situation, out of that fear. You can't outthink yourself. You can't sit and think about your fear. Can't do that. You have to understand that reasoning with yourself or others when they are in a fear state is a pointless exercise. Don't do it. Don't waste your time. Let them be fearful. Give them that permission. Let yourself be fearful. Give yourself that permission. Fine, I'm afraid. No shame in it, right? It does prick the ego, doesn't it, though? Because we all love to pretend to be better than we really are. But fear is the great equalizer, right? So be afraid. It's fine. Don't let it get to your head. Try to keep it below your throat. Don't clench your jaw. Don't into that. Breathe, relax, relax. The fear is there, you can relax. It's fine. That's how you do this. You don't try and think yourself out of it. Rationalize. Give yourself reasons not to be afraid. They won't work. You've tried it, they don't work. Either the fear recedes only to come back stronger later on, right? Or it just doesn't listen because it's irrational. It lies beyond the very narrow confines of reason, okay? Fear is irrational, and here's the second thing which makes it such a thing. It is contagious. It's contagious. There was no virus can ever be invented. Said that deliberately, yeah. No virus has ever existed or will exist that has ever been invented, purely up here, that will even compete in its contagiousness with fear. Nothing comes close to fear how contagious it is. You know why? Because life is based on something called bioresonance, which means we're all resonating frequencies. And you become the company you keep. You hang out with fearful people, guess what'll happen to you? On the other hand, hang out with fearless people, secure in themselves. It's a very rare human now that if you know someone like that, well, good for you. Hang out with someone like that, and you'll see that you will feel less afraid of life, of what could happen. You'll feel a lot less afraid over time. Somehow their self-confidence, their fearlessness will get transferred to you. Why? Because your body will start resonating, vibrating at the same vibration, like pendulums all getting into sync, right? Think about that. Now think about how would you want to hang out with someone who gives off an awful body odor and bad breath? I used to know a guy. He was a short man. He used to, no joke, it was real life. He named himself Krishna. And Mr. Krishna was an Osho devotee. And the worst smell from his mouth, he used to come to our concerts and come up later and, want to hug you. And it's like, you've just given a spiritual concert and you're, I'd never hugged him. And Mr. Krishna was convinced that he was an enlightened being. He had lost his human form, and he was this walking miracle on this earth, a boon to mankind. Krishna was, all the time, never realizing that his mouth smelled. I cannot describe to you. Only if you have really been in the company of such a person will you really have some understanding with me of what I'm talking about. Right? No one wants to hang out with a person like that. Imagine that fear is 10 times worse than that, oozing out of someone's body. Horses can smell fear. Animals can smell it. Animals can smell it. Well, how can animals smell fear? Warriors, I can smell fear on people. I can smell it. How can we smell it? It is possible. And it has a repulsive quality. The only way I will hang out with a fearful person is either if I'm getting paid to hang out with them. In other words, they're an apprentice, they're gone into a fear state. Okay, fine, we can deal with that. It's all good, right? So there's a mutual agreement for me to help them, or there's something I will gain from being with that person. And then I can totally stalk the situation, get my advantage out of it, and get on my bike, right? It's contagious, which means every time you indulge, the word indulge, yes, indulge, you indulge in fear, in your addiction, you are not only doing yourself a disservice, you're repeating disadvantageous repetitions, plus you're spreading the stink everywhere and infecting others with your bullshit, your nonsense. You're contributing to the wrong side of the Great Divide. And if you haven't watched that video, you've got to go and watch that video. It's on my channel, watch it, The Great Divide. It speaks about what's happening at the moment. All right, so the next bit about fear is that it is the way to come out of this experience is to learn the art of stopping descriptions, or what Castaneda described as stopping the world. What it is stopping the description. I'll show you how to do this right now. Go back to a time in your life, or maybe right now you're feeling afraid, really afraid. Think about the time when you really freaked out, panic really set in. And now erase the word fear from that experience. Remove all descriptions from your mind of that experience. Remove them. What is left? What's left? That's the way to bring your system back right down to a cool state. Fear will get your system really hot in terms of energy. Fear moves a lot of energy very quickly, and it's a big energy dump right into the surroundings. Poof, like the smelliest freaking fart that like clears the room. That's what it is. You don't want to be that person, right? In the elevator. You don't want to be that person. It's the same thing. Keep your system cool, which means keep a cool head on your shoulders. Relax. You're having a panic attack on the subway, it's fine. Relax. Don't let it get up to you up here. Your heart's hammering, palms are sweaty. It's fine. Breathe. By the way, for panic attacks, try this one. Inhale quickly or inhale deeply. Don't have to be quick about it. And really lengthen the exhale as long as you can. And this, or like that. And exhale as if you're blowing a candle out. Inhale, and you can keep going on and on with the exhale till you're done. And then inhale again, and the longest you can make it, as if you're blowing a candle out, is steady breath. Out, out. Do it, and you'll be surprised how quickly your so-called anxiety attack and panic attack disappears. You know why? Because you're preventing it from getting to your head. You're actively cooling the system right back down again. So this is the way to deal with all fear. You had a nightmare, you woke up, your first priority is to cool down your system. That doesn't mean you try and stop your heart from hammering and my palms should not be sweaty or armpits should not be hot. You don't try and control the physical. Just make sure that you're breathing in the way that I showed you, and before long your system will cool down. Personally, all I can say, I never needed to do that breathing thing. I don't need to. I never needed to. Because by the time I was ready to face my own fear and break its back permanently, make it an invalid, weakling in my reality, I had acquired such a deep level of inner silence that the inner silence did the work. The fear it would bounce off against this radiation of no descriptions. Whatever the experience is, inner silence, no descriptions. Stay away from descriptions when it comes to fear, and you will retain a cool, sober head. Now, this sounds very easy to say. However, there's a lot of man hours have to be spent, invested into learning the art of non-interference in your inner world. Once you learn how to not interfere, let things be inside you as they are. Let them be. No need to go in and start doing nonsense in there, aggravating everything. Relax. Stop interfering. Sit back. Let things go on as they are. Relax. Once you learn that, the next step is your body will calm down into inner silence anyway. And you repeat that often enough. It took me many years. You don't need to deal with fear directly after that. If the lake of inner silence is, then your body may experience fear, but your mind will be crystal clear, sharp, alert, vibrantly alert. So that's the way out of fear, and I've given you a little bit of the understanding of fear or inner standing of fear, right? Now it's up to you to go and apply this. Apply it. Put yourself in situations where you have to face your fear. Go to the supermarket and don't take your slave muzzle with you. Don't take it with you. Because now you're committed. You either have to go to the door, freak out and turn back from the supermarket, go home like a little chicken shit, or you go in and face it. What are you going to do? Yeah? So put in the comments below how you have faced your fear. And I'm not talking about once, twice. I'm talking about some serious evolution out of your fears. If you got stories like that, share them in the comments. And I shall see you in the next video. Walk in freedom and farewell.